You're listening to the Copywriter On Call podcast. I'm your host, Sarah Gillis, copywriter, word magic maker, and owner of What Sarah Said. On this podcast, you'll feel empowered to show up online in a way that has you saying, "That's so me." Let's get started.
Hi, everybody, and welcome back to the Copywriter On Call podcast. I am your host, Sarah Gillis, and I am clocking in on call solo today to talk through some strategies about how to attract consistent leads to your business beyond just social media. So before we dive in here, I think that one of the things I want to debunk with this episode is many business owners think that what they need to do when they start their business or they grow their brand is to create an Instagram account. And that's a real big key to, curating a feed that's, aesthetically pleasing, but also provides that need to know information, starts to move clients through that know, like, trust funnel and start attracting followers. And I don't want to say that Instagram's not a great way to grow your business, because I really do think it is. But I do think that somewhere along the way, as business owners, we've lost sight a little bit of the other ways that we can build and grow a business without relying so heavily on social media. The truth is that there are more timeless ways to attract an audience, grow your client roster, and attract real and consistent leads into your business. And before social media was ever a thing, people were doing this on the regular in different ways. So what if we flipped our perspective today to see that Instagram and social media are great, but they're not the only way to attract leads. And in fact, we probably shouldn't be putting all of our eggs in that basket. So it might be fun to share things on social media. It might be the thing that we feel really comfortable doing, especially as a millennial, right? I get it. But the more that I continue to grow my business and to support my clients in growing their businesses, I've realized that while I do get some leads from Instagram, it isn't my main way of attracting leads. And as one of the platforms that we aren't promised to have tomorrow, it's not something that I really focus on as a major strategy to attract leads. We don't have control over our Instagram account or the algorithm, as people like to say. As a copywriter, I want to spend a little more time in areas that I do have control over, like my website, right? You knew that was coming. But again, I'm not trying to say here that you should ditch social media altogether. It's clear that it can be a really great tool, particularly for building relationships, and I love it so much for that. But if you're ready to stop being handcuffed to Instagram and start attracting real and consistent leads that really are higher quality and more attuned to your services, this podcast episode is really for you. So we're going to go ahead and dive in for my favorite ways to attract leads that are real, high quality, and consistent beyond just social media. And the first one is having blogs on your website. So beyond simply having a website, the next step that I always talk to clients about is keeping your website consistently updated. And one of the easiest ways to do that is to blog regularly. Okay. And I know that blogs took the internet by storm in the early 2000s. I was one of those old kind of millennials who loved Google Reader and had like all of my favorite blogs go into this feed of sorts so that I could sort and categorize and save and all of the nerdy things that I used to do back in the day. Now, blogs are still a thing, and they're not just for influencers, okay? It's an important part of your marketing strategy, or it should be, because it can have major benefits when you implement them consistently in your business. So blogs are not only for nurturing your audience, okay? It's true that blog content serves as that source of education and information, but you can go beyond just educating and informing. You can provide value, and you can do that through your blog content by building that authority and that trust, right? We talked about that know, like, trust funnel at the beginning of this episode, and business moves at the speed of trust. So the more that your audience trusts you and recognizes that you are an authority, a thought leader in your area, in your industry, the more that they'll be ready to work with you when the chance arises. The other great opportunity here for blog posts is that you can indirectly showcase your offers. So instead of taking like the in your face, really direct, buy this approach, You can instead create blog content that highlights benefits or success stories of a given service so that your audience first receives the value around that topic and then are introduced to a possible solution. Another great way to attract quality leads to your business is email marketing. Now, I'm a huge fan of email marketing. Similar to blogging, it's an example of one of those timeless or more timeless marketing strategies that have been around for ages. Ever since we got email addresses, businesses, shops, everything in between have been emailing us regularly to remind us that they exist and that maybe we want to purchase something. And so, although people are more keen to implement email marketing before they do blogs, I think you need both strategies, okay? Blogs are great because they live on your website and they build that SEO. They also build that credibility. When it comes to email marketing, it's the similar type of thing, but it's important to email your people regularly. And by regularly, I don't mean just when you're selling something, okay? So to truly see the fruits of your email marketing efforts, you need to share regularly and strategically. And it needs to feel like someone is popping into your inbox to share value, to share a funny story, to simply remind you that they exist in a way that makes you want to continue reading, to continue learning from that person. So often I recommend that my clients implement and curate a newsletter or even just quick little notes from SARA type emails that consistently are sent on some sort of a regular basis, whether that's weekly or twice a month or monthly. And the clear objective here in your email marketing needs to be, how can I provide value? Okay. So similar to the blogging strategy I talked about earlier, email marketing can really build relationships and thus consistently generate leads as you are kind of creating this content that's exclusive for these email subscribers. One really beautiful piece that I want to emphasize here is that you don't have to overcomplicate this. If you create a newsletter that you send out once a month, it doesn't have to have 16 parts to it. It doesn't have to be lengthy. It doesn't have to have multiple categories. It can just be something that's on your camera lately. It can be a client interaction that you loved. It can be a funny thing that happened at the grocery store or with your kids. Because at the very basis of all of us, we're all human and we all love stories. So if you pop into someone's inbox and the value you provide is a story that you think is funny or a really great find that you found, I don't know, at a local boutique, why not share that with your people? So if they're local, they can find that too, or they can search for it online and see if they can get their hands on it. All of these pieces provide value, and value doesn't have to be limited just to business. All right, we've covered the first two ideas I have for you to attract consistent leads without social media. That was blogs and emails. Now we're going to get into podcasting. Very meta. So podcasting is another great marketing tool that helps to build connections with an audience and helps to invite them to dive in deeper to your community, your little corner of the internet. So it's very similar to blogging because it's a popular nurture tool. A podcast can nurture your audience. And now sometimes people choose one or the other, and that's fine. But the important thing to remember here is that both blogging and podcasting, like email marketing, are a commitment. This episode is brought to you by Storysale, my 3-month group coaching program that supports creatives who are ready to market their magic. In our 3 months together, you'll have access to group coaching calls, guest expert trainings, weekly one-on-one Voxer support with me, and 7 hours of one-on-one intensives with me, all to focus on your website copy, SEO, blogging, email marketing, and social media strategy. 8 spots are available this round. Is one of them for you? Storysale is a great fit for female service-based creative business owners like photographers, brand and website designers, wedding planners, and more who have been in business a few years. If you feel like your client work is fine-tuned and solid, but you're not serving enough of your dream clients, or you don't feel confident in communicating your passion or the value of your services, then Storysale is for you. My goal inside Storysale is to provide teaching and support as you overhaul your brand messaging strategy. from your website and your blog to your email list and your social media content, and to help you find soul sister aligned clients that value what you do. Visit whatsarasaid.com/coaching to learn more, or click the link in the show notes. If this program feels right for you, use the code podcast to save $150 at checkout. I'd love to see you inside. Now, back to the episode. Both a podcast and a blog take time and strategy to create, but I like to think about it this way. Would I rather spend time creating a post for social media that's probably not going to have a shelf life of longer than a day or two? Or would I rather spend time creating a blog post or a podcast episode that has the ability to live on my website forevermore? Obviously, that's the beauty of a blog or a podcast. They are typically really evergreen, and your audience has the ability to find them at any time, okay? Now, the reason I really love podcasting is because it lets your audience get to know you by literally listening to your authentic voice, okay? They can hear your voice and really start to build a connection with you that sometimes just isn't possible when they're just reading words on a computer screen. And so getting to know you in this way, not just as, a service provider, but as a human, can lead to building trust faster, which can also speed up the time it takes from someone to move to interested to paying customer. Now, the next one you've probably heard of, but I want to debunk this. Google Business Profile is not only beneficial for location-based businesses. It can be really beneficial for online-based businesses too, like mine. I can serve customers wherever they are in the nation or the world, and I don't necessarily have a storefront, of course, in my area of Sioux Falls. And so when it comes to Google Business Profile and why it's important for an online storefront, it's those reviews, okay? So let's dive in. If you're not sure what Google Business Profile is, it's essentially a free online platform that's provided by Google, and it allows your business and your organization to manage your online presence by creating an official business listing on Google. And so there you would display your key business information, like what you do, what industry you serve, where you're located, because some people, again, if you have a storefront, that's really important. But the other pieces you can provide are contact information, a link to your website, any sort of photos or visual pieces, and then those reviews, okay? So when you are searching for something like photographer near me or, website copywriter for photographers. Hello. The cool part about these Google Business Profiles is that regardless of the SEO work that you've done on your website, these listings will populate first in your search results on Google. Okay. If you type in website copywriter, I'm going to try that again. If you type in photographer near me, you will see a Google map of sorts with little pins that pinpoints where photographers are located in relation to you. And so typically a consumer will see these businesses as legit and professional. And there's a good chance that because they typed in something like photographer near me, they're going to navigate to those websites first. So this means that if you don't have a Google Business Profile listing, you could potentially be missing out on the chance to populate up on the top of Google. And that's something that we all want, right? We all want to rank higher on Google. And so having a Google Business Profile is one way to do that. All right, the last strategy I want to touch on here is paid ads, okay? And I know what you might be thinking. Sarah, you told me I was supposed to move away from social media. And I did, but that's why ads are the last thing on this list, okay? So after you've implemented all of these kind of more timeless strategies to attract leads, ads can be that final piece that you put into place. It can still be beneficial to show up where your audience is. And a lot of people do spend a lot of time on social media. So I don't want you to write it off together. I just want you to boost up the things that you own or have control over before we go back to social media. And I don't want you to start here with paid ads because there are really those foundational strategies that you want to have in place first before you incorporate ads into your business. For instance, it wouldn't make sense to send ads to your website if you don't have a website that you're proud to stand behind. So here's the ultimate piece I want you to understand here. Make sure that when you walk into the world of paid ads, you determine what your goal is first. Okay. Do you want to grow your email list? Do you want to sell out a particular offer? Do you want to get people to attend a free workshop? Whatever that goal is, consider that goal and then work with someone you trust. Okay. Whether it's somebody that you have found through the grapevine and you've been following them for a long time and trust their knowledge, or you want to dive deep on YouTube and figure some things out. Either way, just make sure that you are getting information from someone that you can trust. Okay. In my opinion, paid ads can be a really slippery type of thing to figure out. It can be kind of difficult to figure out if something's not converting, is it my graphic? Is it my audience in terms of who I'm targeting? Is it both? Is it a caption or a headline? And so there are a lot of professionals out there that can really help you with paid advertisements, and they are worth their money in gold for sure. So if you do dabble in paid ads, just make sure that you have a really great understanding, either from Google University or YouTube or someone that you trust that is well-versed in advertisements, to help you experience the results that you can be proud of. So there's always ways that you can generate consistent leads into your business without relying so heavily on social media. And if you really want to stand out from the crowd, paying attention to your foundations, the website, the blog, the emails, the podcasting, if you really like it, the Google business listing, all of those pieces and parts can be really foundational in helping you to attract leads. But at the end of the day, I always encourage you to think about, how can I grow consistently and how can I make sure that I'm showing up in a way that feels aligned to me? Showing up on social media might feel easy to you. Showing up on social media might feel daunting. However you feel about it, make sure that you have your foundational elements in place so that when you do show up on social media, you're not posting out of desperation saying, I need 3 more people on my calendar this month. Or you're showing up in a way that feels just not authentic to you. It doesn't feel in alignment to where you are and where you want your business to go. The way to do that is to make sure that there are other pieces and parts in place to attract leads. So maybe if you don't feel great on social media that day, you don't have to worry about it. You can simply post your image, say hello on stories, and move along. All right, that's it for today, my friends. I hope that this was a really helpful rundown for you on how to attract leads to your business without relying just on social media. Again, social media is a great tool, but that's what it is. It's a tool. And so when you're reaching for the tools in your toolbox, try and get these foundational pieces, your hammer and nails, if you will, into place before you grab that fancy tool that you only use maybe once or twice a year. Okay. That's it for me today. This is your Copywriter on Call signing off. Again, thanks for being here.
Thanks for listening to the Copywriter on Call podcast. If this episode has you feeling all sorts of inspired to show up as yourself online, click that subscribe button so you don't miss my stories or practical advice to help you express your quirky, vulnerable, and authentic self online. Chat soon.